What is up, people? We are on episode 44. A lot of stuff happens this episode. We get into it. But episode 44, Midnight Interrogation. We pick up with the group around the assassin they caught. They pull off the mask and they start questioning him. They find out he's like a human man. Ferric uses the man's shadow that he captured from the last episode to turn into that man and gain some basic knowledge. They tie the guy up and come up with a plan to like just kind of like a plan on how to get information from him. Still kind of rocky on that. But they wake up the assassin. He is immediately suspicious, as an assassin should be. Ferric tries to put him at ease, but it just makes this assassin more suspicious. We learn that there's something called the Brotherhood, and not the Full Metal one. And that the assassin is not sent here to kill anybody in the group, but it looks like they're here to kill Ravenel. They start to torture him, and Pickles and Ravenel put a stop to it immediately. Pickles is just like, I didn't sign up for torture. I'm not here for torture. I'm out of here. Ravenel is just like, hey, this isn't right. Like, you know, we're honor bound to like do the right thing here. Navarre ends up casting suggestion to get him to talk. Okay. Here the players have a debate about how suggestion works in putting yourself in danger. They get into a debate or like a little argument about like suggestion should, if you know you're going to be harmed by giving this information, should suggestion work? But I mean, like, if that's the case, like there's a lot of situations where you know you're going to eventually be harmed. So should suggestion work? I'm all for the debates. I'm all for the conversations and everything. But I do think this was like, I don't want to say awkward, but it was just kind of like, all right. Like, I mean, like they weren't arguing with each other for real. Like they weren't like fighting or anything, but it was just kind of like, I think it should work this way. I think it should work this way. And the players just, it kind of took away from like the scene overall. I do think it's, again, awkward's not the right word, but it like breaks immersion for the listeners. But I mean, like, it's a D&D podcast, so they're always going to be talking about spells and stuff and blah, blah, blah. You're always reminded that it's not a fully immersive podcast. But I do appreciate Cody trying to hear both sides of the argument, like why this shouldn't work and why this should work. But he is the DM, so he always gets the call for it. I mean, it's his game. It's like how he wants to play it. So I do wish that this was cut out, but I do like the person in me that likes to hear things like this. It appreciates that it's in there. So it's kind of weird. It was just weird. Like, I don't know. I hate when situations like that happen. I'm just like, ugh. Anyway, but we learned a bit about the Brotherhood, and apparently there's this voice when you're down on your luck and you've done nothing. This voice comes to you and it's like, hey, join the Brotherhood. And since that's like your last option, you end up doing it. The assassin asks for a mercy killing, and Ravenel stabs him through and he kills him. Adalia asks him for his name and then sucks the life force right out of his face. She steals his face just like Ferric stole the other face. Apparently, they're the power face stealing couple. The group asks why someone would come after Ravenel. He explains, he kind of gives like I don't want to say a BS answer, but he kind of gives like that vague answer. It's part of the job. I mean, I work for a lot of powerful people. I have a lot of powerful artifacts. Like my job's important, so it makes sense that somebody would try to kill me. You don't know me? I'm Ravenel. But Navarre asks an important question of why is it okay to kill someone without group consent, but it's not okay to interrogate without group consent? Now, let's go back to this torture. They put manacles on them. They cast heat metal. Uh, Ambrose had this turret, and he cast heat metal on that, but he set the turret to heal them, so it was just gonna keep repeating to like heat up and heal them and burn them and heal them and burn them, and so it was just getting pretty intense. Navarre and Pickles kind of fight about the interrogation because, again, we know a little bit about Pickles' backstory here. Is like she's been captured, she's been tortured. She just doesn't do torture. It's a trigger thing for her. Mirage chases after, so Navarre and Pickles fight about the interrogation. Pickles ends up walking off because, she's hot about this thing, and Mirage ends up chasing after her and asks her what's wrong, and she ends up telling. First of all, Mirage didn't remember this conversation that she had, but she tells him that she was doing a job for her family and she got captured by somebody, and she was tortured for a long time. But apparently, they eventually believed her that she wasn't a part of the family because she wasn't a Goliath. So, lucky. They make a funeral for the dead, but they wait till the morning to set it afire because they don't want anybody to find them. Ambrose tries to talk to Ravenel about his sense of justice, but Ravenel ain't having that. His honor will not allow him to stray from the path. So he tells Ravenel he gets that you got to do what you got to do, but he is a man of justice and he's going to do just that. Bring the justice. The team goes to sleep for the night and the prince appears to Mirage again. The prince tries to remind Mirage, Eugene, I should just start calling him Eugene like everybody else, Eugene of the deal, and then turns into a plea, kind of? Because it almost sounded like he needed Eugene. It almost seemed like, without Eugene, like, they say that other people are working for the prince and other people are, like, in his service. But the way that he was trying to make this deal with Eugene just made it seem like he was the only person working for him. I don't know. Mirage asks Ferric what happened to the souls when someone dies, like when they get up in the morning. Mirage goes talk to Ferric, and Ferric just kind of explains them, like, they go to the afterlife. Of course, his has more grandeur and all that. And then Mirage and Ferric kind of talk for a bit, and then Mirage ends up walking off. Then Adalia asks him, like, what was that about? And the suspicion towards Mirage is, there, but he's been pretty forthcoming, so he's not trying to hide anything. Ferric asks Adalia if she wants to be official. They have a real touching scene and agree to be official. And then the Ambrose is standing in a tree watching. It's just like they're having this real touching scene, and then you pan the camera out and you see Ambrose on a tree limb. Just, that was sweet. I'm Ambrose. The group moves on, and Adalia casts water walking to cross the water. God, it's pretty late. Cross the water. She casts water walking on Pickles, I think, and Pickles picks up the cart and I think the horses, and they get across the water. Or I think they ride the horses across, and then Pickles carries the cart across, with her giant's might, because she is a giant. They move over to, they're now in the theocracy. So they are in foreign country. There's a sign to say, keep citizens of Mornstead out. If you're from Mornstead, you don't belong here, and we want you out of our country. Ambrose pulls out a map to find the cave where the Dark Matron was. And he easily finds it, and they start heading that way. They figure out that they can be there in a day. So they start heading that way. they hide the cart and take the horses, and they head off to these mines where the Dark Matron was last seen. And that's where the episode ends. Not on the cliffhanger, so that's always good. But let's talk about this. We find a little bit about this new organization called the Brotherhood. The Brotherhood. They're trying to assassin Ravenel. And I remember in Discord I was like, he's trying to get something for some rich person, and some neighboring country is trying to stop him before he does this. I don't trust Ravenel. Not one bit. Not one bit, not one bit. Man's too pretty. But, so, we learn of the Brotherhood. They're trying to kill Ravenel. Ravenel has no idea why, no idea who they are, blah, blah, blah. Trying to see what happened next. They make a funeral. Adalia and Ferric have new faces. The prince, like, it just, I don't know if Cody intended for that, like, where this plea was like, I don't know, I keep saying plea, but like, when he was like holding the hand out for this deal again, it just seemed like he was real desperate. And I don't know if that was the vibe that Cody was trying to get across, or that is the vibe I'm just subconsciously picking up. But it seemed like he was real desperate. And then we get to these mines where the Dark Matron, Black Matron, Dark Matron was found. Last seen. So a lot of good stuff happened in this episode. I like I said, I don't like, but I do like the argument, debate or conversation about the suggestion thing. But I'm not too worried about that. This was a solid episode. I'm gonna give this one an 8 out of 10. It was a solid episode. We found out a bit of new information. I can't wait for them to apply it, because I'm still waiting on the Brotherhood where I am, because it's like, this is a very interesting thing. This I need to know why and how they know what they know. So 8 out of 10. 8 hit dice. Gonna put some hit dice up there one day. Watch. But 8 hit dice out of 10. Solid episode. Yeah, we'll be back tomorrow. We're on episode 45. Episode 45. I've been talking to myself for about 45 days, give or take, because Faye has been here a couple of times. Let me see. 46, 47, 48, 49, 50. I've done this once. 50, 51, 52, 53. Let's say 53. So, one more week. One more week we'll be caught up, and I'll have a little bit more free time. I don't have to do this every night, and I can do a little bit of editing, put some music on there, just spice some things up. But yeah, as always, guys, thanks for tuning in to Miles TV, and I just want you to remember, you are loved, you are important, and you do matter. You guys have a nice night. Bye.